40% of kids saying they hate school. We have to find a way in education to bring those kids to school. We got to figure out a way to make them enjoy it, at least just for a little bit.
What we're trying to do is teach kids how to learn.
Some kids have never had success in school. You put them in front of a video game, they find success. Now I have a voice. Now people are listening to me.
I think people think we're teaching video games.
Right.
And that is absolutely not what we're doing.
You can bring this into a building with your teachers, and it's innovative to where the students are going to be a part of something that is just bigger than them.
Through gaming concepts, I really feel like I have even a stronger connection with students than I've had in the past 10 years of teaching.
Okay, well, hello and welcome to the Gaming Concepts podcast. It has been a minute. I have been out of commission with travel and all kinds of stuff. So I'm excited to be back today with my boys doing a little gaming concepts. So
don't worry, we've been here, Kristen.
I know. I can't wait to go and
Mike
listen
and I are
to
holding it down.
a couple of the ones that I missed. So I know we dropped Lakin this week. So that's exciting. I really want to go back and listen to that. So tell me in my absence, which, I haven't really been totally absent just from gaming, concepts podcast absent. Tell me a little bit about what you guys have been doing this week.
Can I start?
Sure,
Yeah,
absolutely.
So the highlight, and it's the same story every week, which again, I sound like a broken record when I say this, but again and again and again, talking to schools. This week has been a lot of schools in Arkansas and Kansas who are just getting their esports, either getting their esports journey started because they've heard from other schools how good it is, or talking to experienced esports coaches who want to add more to their programs. They love that their kids play, but they want to add more to it. And so they're looking to build out courses, build out and utilize the curriculum piece that we offer for them. And so they want their kids to have more depth to what they're doing than playing the games, and they're looking for options, and I
love it.
They either find us through Googling or through other coaches who are like, hey, check out these gaming concepts folks. Maybe they've seen us at different conferences. And so it's been a lot of fun. Again, the highlights always hearing the stories of the kids and then the teachers that are working with kids and superintendents. I talked to a couple superintendents in New York this week. And it was interesting because the gentleman I was speaking to said that he doesn't usually respond to emails that he gets, but he responded to this one that he'd received to superintendents about the benefits of esports. He's like, I don't know why I clicked on it. I usually don't, but I'm so glad I did because now they look to build and grow a program and educate their kids. So that's cool stuff in my world. That's my world. And the Chiefs. And the Chiefs won the Super Bowl. Mike was so excited.
Mike is super excited about the Chiefs win. He was first row in the parade, except that got there at 3 a.m. Ready to watch everybody come by. I have on my Chiefs sweatshirt today because I felt like it needed to be just out there for a while, and to really make Mike happy.
Yes,
it was an interesting conundrum for me because I'm a Cowboys fan, and I either had to root for Philly, who is really not good for Dallas fans, or the Chiefs, who
is not good for
don't like. So so I had to root for Philly. I gave up and rooted for Philly.
You rooted for Philly?
100%.
Michael Russell?
Wow.
Hey, Herbie, how do we kick someone off the podcast? Is that is it as simple as pushing a button? Because
Herbie will not ever kick me off the podcast, I guarantee you.
He knows better.
I know that won't happen.
He knows where his bread's buttered.
That's exactly right. So,
man.
Oh my gosh. Well, Mike, talk about your week a little bit.
Yeah, my week's been crazy busy. Lots of meetings, lots of just talking about some things internally, but I did meet with an educator on Monday, and I met with a gentleman from the YMCA in Illinois on Wednesday. And I met with him and Dan, and I think we're talking to them about their kind of getting their feet into the esports world as an after school program, and we're going to try to figure out some things with them and get some kids involved. And one of the great things about a YMCA structure is they can do the gaming piece, but they also have all the amazing facilities of, hey, you're there, you can swim and you can work out and you can run and play soccer. So there's some great camp ideas we can run around with that, as far as, hey, for an hour you're going to game, or you're going to do a lesson and then game, but then for 30 minutes you're going to go play basketball, or you're going to go swim. So, it's just an awesome opportunity to figure out another way to bring esports to kids, but also, utilize our partners. So, and provide some opportunity for them too. So really good. I hit a new PR on the leg press this week. So 800 pounds. So pretty excited about that. So
800 pounds on the
Yes.
leg press. Well
Yes.
done.
I knew you were moving some weight there, Doc.
Yeah,
That's legit weight.
yeah, I have to carry myself around, so that helps. Makes it a little easier to press more weight. So, but yeah, so I was pretty. I mean, I haven't done anything like that since high school, so it's good to be able to do that 30 years later. So
that is really cool. That's a good personal win. I love it.
Yeah,
Love it.
so that's been my week, and yeah, I'm excited.
I
Things
love
are going
it.
well.
Well, in my
Dr. Craft?
absence, I've just been traveling and, went to TCEA most recently, and just got to talk to so many educators in Texas that were just super excited, about our courses, and just being able to see that all on game plan. I did a lot of demos, and a lot of people, I did a presentation with Julie Mavra-George, and we just kind of knocked it out of the park as far as what people needed to hear to help them to better understand it. And so I was nonstop, I think, for 3 days, just talking and listening to what, they need for their programs. And it was just spectacular, and just really filled my cup. And it's always hard to be gone, but such a good way to really connect with educators and get your boots on the ground in front of them. And that led to some other things, with getting some invites to some other, region workshops and tech conferences and things like that. And then Monday did a webinar with Alex, and I think that went well. Alex said it was pretty good. So hopefully that was all about wide esports, and I think we had good turnout, and hopefully that will lead to some things as well. So just some exciting times. And, but yeah. So I think now would be a great time to maybe move on to our guest. And I have some clues, and I think you may have seen who the person was. So you can guess, just for fun, but I do love the clues that were provided. So you can hear the clues. So this person has 2 legal birthdays.
How does that work?
I don't know. Is it a February thing?
Oh, yep.
Is
You're
it a
right.
leap year baby?
I bet she was born on the February 29th.
Okay.
That would be my guess. That's a good call.
Wow.
Their favorite drink is water.
Just plain water?
Yeah.
I mean, I get why that's good, but
it is good, but it's not good.
You can put flavors in it.
Like Mountain Dew.
Actually, water. That's probably my daughter's. Milk and water are her favorites. So it's crazy.
Nice.
This person took Arabic in college.
Wow.
That's hard.
That would be
That
hard. That would be hard.
I mean, it's
stressful. That didn't force you to drink something other than water.
Right. This person has been to 15 countries on 5 continents, but has never been to the Southern Hemisphere.
I mean, that's theoretic. That is possible.
Yeah. And before this person was a teacher, they built websites and designed content management systems with code.
Oh. In Arabic?
Oh.
In Arabic.
While drinking water.
So who do you think?
This sounds like a pretty cool person, so I'm looking forward to meeting him.
Yes. I think we know, so I think we'll just...
Do you know?
Well, I mean...
I told her, I said...
I wouldn't have known based on the clues. I'm going to tell you that right now.
Yeah, the clues were good, weren't they?
Yeah, I mean, but we did, we had some technical things earlier that kind of tipped it off, but no, I definitely would not have known that had you not told us those clues. I would never have guessed who this is.
Yeah. So. Well, I just told her to come in. Welcome, Danielle, to the chaos that is the Gaming Concepts podcast. We were reading your clues, even though we had we didn't get to do the surprise, but the clues they loved.
I'm so sorry about that.
No, the clues they loved.
Good.
So why don't you tell everybody kind of what you do currently?
I was a teacher for 15 years and I left in May because my side gig thing that I started requiring phone calls during business hours, and I couldn't do that while I was teaching. So a few years ago, a group of people I met on Twitter and I started a nonprofit esports organization for Texas. So it's the Texas Scholastic Esports Federation, or TEX, Texas SEF, Scholastic Esports Federation. So it's stylized TexF. It's not TSEF. That's something totally different. But
yes.
Yeah, so TexF is a teacher-run nonprofit esports organization for Texas schools. And we put on tournaments and weekly leagues. We do professional development. We lobby UIL for official state takeover. We write courses for the state. And it's not our organization specifically, it's the community of teachers that our organization is. So it's not something that lives without the teachers that are part of it, but it's really neat working with teachers from all across the state.
Yeah, it's a great program. And I know you guys just recently, didn't you just have a big championship like in December or something, like for your first round, a state championship?
That was actually just a winter tournament. It's the first.
Oh yeah, okay.
It's the first big tournament we've been able to do. We did a small one last spring, but it's the first big one in person that we were able to do. And it was a Taylor Swift ticket situation. We couldn't close registration fast enough and went way over max capacity. Luckily, it tapered down towards the end. Yeah. It was our first real big tournament to have. And it was, I called it the Winter Open because like the US Open, like anybody can sign up to play. Yeah. And so that's just what I named it in my head. And because I'm in charge, that became the name of it.
So did you anticipate the growth and just the energy when you started this a couple of years ago? Could you have foreseen where things were headed as an organization with the esports work you're doing? Would you have anticipated it being what it is today?
Yes, and I can show that I did because I actually drew the whole thing out on Post-it notes a few years ago. I mean, I can pull those up and I would love to share them.
Oh
like
gosh.
that it's literally what our organization became. And
that's cool.
When I got upset at ISTE a few years ago, and when a teacher told me that she was in esports sessions and that her biggest takeaway was that we should start different leagues for girls and boys so girls don't get harassed. And me, not a gamer, I know nothing except my son likes Rocket League, you know. And he was like 5 at the time, or 6 or something. And I just like looked at her and I castrated a person I didn't know and was like, that's bull. We teach boys not to beat. And I went to a party later that night. I snuck into a Google party, as one does. And we're talking to a few people that had done the innovator program. And I was in a fellowship with Google at the time. And so I was kind of really connected in that world. But I'd applied to the Innovator Academy before, but didn't get selected. And so I was like, yeah, I will. And so I applied. And my problem of practice was, if we start middle school esports leagues and teach empathy, it will, as these kids grow up, will it change the industry? And turns out it will. And we don't even have to wait for them to grow up, which is nice. So that in the fall of 2019, I went to my innovator cohort, which was in Singapore. And then my teacher network broadened internationally. It was amazing. But while I was there, I drew out everything that we have become. And cool. It's interesting in that, like, it is a shared vision among a lot of people. I just drew it out. And I was like, not there first even, but it was, I understand teachers and I understand the Texas system incredibly well. And I am not a huge bragger, but like that is something I know.
Yeah.
And so I just reached out and with the help of a few other people connected with teachers all over the state that were already doing esports. And we decided that we were going to run a league and we were going to launch in the fall of 2020. But we all know how that went. We had no idea what school was going to look like. And what ended up happening was we started running in the spring of 2020 instead, because our kids were home and bored, and bored kids make bad choices. And so we were like, let's do something. And so we started running tournaments at April. I would like to fully acknowledge that I had no idea how long a Rocket League match was. I had no idea how many players were on each side. Like, I'm a people organizer. That's what I do. And so the gaming stuff was really foreign to me, other than the problem of practice I gave about middle school and empathy. But the real problem of practice for me was there better be something different by the time my son is old enough to compete.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it was always entirely selfish and personal. But yeah, that's where this came from. And like I said, I'm going to show you the pictures just because I love them. But I wasn't the only one with the same vision.
Yeah.
And working with teachers, you guys know, I don't have to explain what our purpose is. We don't have to build buy-in. If they're coming to meetings, they're already bought in. And because bottom line for all of us is what's best for kids, you don't have to be like, here's the strategy and here's what we're doing and here's this new great thing that's going to save education, like everything, right? The 8-track was going to save education and laser discs. But it's great being able to look back and see what I've done and what we've done and how much it's grown. But back to your question, yes, I absolutely knew it was going to happen, and I'll show you. Spotting trends, education trends, because I'm so engrossed in the system. And I love the education bureaucracy. I just kind of did it. Like I knew it was going to happen, but I didn't know the games. But I knew.
Don't you kind of think, like you were talking earlier, don't you kind of think esports is going to save education?
No, God, no. The only thing that can save education is teachers.
I'm totally kidding.
That is it.
What?
Teachers.
Teachers, yes.
There is, if it happens on a campus, a teacher does it. And every time we just keep going in circles with whatever our philosophy is or whatever is going to save education next. But it's the only answer is teachers.
People.
Yeah. We are a teacher facing organization that happens to put on things for students.
Yep. That's awesome.
Well, I would add to that administrators who allow teachers to be innovative
Absolutely.
and don't just make them follow all the rules.
Don't do that.
Yeah. I had a wonderful principal that let me in the 1920 school year basically start this whole organization.
In the 1920 school year, you've been teaching a long time.
Huh?
2020.
I was in my 3rd year of the fellowship with Google, and so I wasn't teaching. I was an instructional coach, and I was able to go to Singapore for 10 days, was able to go to conferences to like launch this, was able to make phone calls and connect with people and get things set up. And my principal was phenomenal about supporting this. And actually my principal's wife was like who I interviewed for my innovator application. She was our assistant superintendent at the time. And now she's the superintendent in a West Texas or an East Texas school district. And so I had an incredible support system and a staff that believed that what I was doing was valuable. And so when I was gone or when I was doing that stuff, they were incredibly supportive too. And so I was very privileged to be basically in like fertile soil for this.
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
I know that's a privilege that not every educator ever gets to have in their career to have the kind of environment I was in, but especially not when they're trying to start something outside of school, and to have that level of support is amazing.
So true.
Sorry, I feel like I'm being really preachy, but
No, I'm
Okay.
loving it. I was a principal for the
No,
last
it's
6
good.
years, so you're exactly right. And you talked about the impact of teachers driving the bus, and teacher teacher facing pieces and teacher driven hours. I got to think that's going to encourage more folks to look at TechSF as a, just like you said, a student friendly, school friendly organization.
Right.
So when you look at the growth of TechSF and you look at the tournaments you guys are running, the systems, what are the biggest obstacles that you're facing to help things grow? Being that it's teacher run is awesome, but you also, like you mentioned before, when you're trying to take phone calls and work during the day, that you can't do that as a teacher. So what are some of the obstacles that you've run into with being a mainly teacher driven organization, that maybe are going to keep you guys from continuing to grow, and what's kind of your thoughts to help things move forward?
I had a really fantastic principal for the last decade that really showed me that when you make things work for teachers, things just work.
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of the obstacles around timing and flexibility and all of that stuff, we designed in from the beginning, that we were a teacher organization and we serve teachers, and we are about teachers and made up of teachers. And so a lot of the obstacles for growth, I think we designed the solution at the beginning,
Mm.
if that makes any sense. Like, I knew these were going to be
Because you knew what an
obstacles.
issue was going to be, let's get in front of it.
Right. Not in gaming. I didn't know any of that stuff. But because I spent 3 years doing an instructional coaching fellowship with Google for Education, I spent 3 years as the complaint department, you know? And I
Yeah.
absolutely 100% am still the complaint department. And I absolutely want to be the complaint and customer support, because that's how I learn what the
Yeah.
pain points are for teachers, and then design solutions to fix that, because the teachers are the ones closest to the kids. And so if it's a problem for the teachers, they're going to have to work extra hard to make it work for their kids. And if they have to work extra hard, that's taking away from them. And so I never want to put more on the shoulders of teachers. If somebody volunteers to do something, absolutely, like we will figure out what your niche is, what you like to do, and figure out how to put that into our community to make it better. But I will stay up all night, fund things myself, make every single stinking graphic we've ever had, take all the weird block of cheese day meetings, and because I don't want to put that on a teacher that is still in the classroom. And I have
Do you
a
think-
wonderful support system at home that allows me to do that, and has allowed me to do that for the last 4 years. Evening meetings, I missed my son's first esports tournament because it was on the same day as our winter open, but my whole family went to his tournament because I couldn't be there. So I just have a wonderful support system around me that makes this possible, that not everybody has. And so the more I can take off teachers' plates, the better.
Awesome. Mike, I know you have, I got to follow for you in a second, that something that came to my mind when you're talking to Danielle. So
I know you've talked a lot about like the teachers and things, and one of the things that we kind of struggle with, especially like in CTE and things, is the industry things that the kids can do once they go through, a program like yours, or a program, gaming courses or whatever. I mean, do you have opportunities like in your organization for students to be in leadership roles, or do you have connections in the industry that allow your kids to be a part of that, that are in your organization?
We're getting there.
Okay.
And that's
awesome.
That's
that
good.
is in plan and has been since day one.
Sure.
The 2 years of not being able to do things on campus. Of the first year we started this 4 years ago, I was an instructional coach, but then I went back to the classroom. And so I was teaching courses I hadn't taught before. And then last school year, I actually only had one conference, which in 15 years of education, I've never had one planning period. I've always had at least two. And Texas is good, y'all. So it just became a lot. And I know my limits. And I didn't want to overpromise and underdeliver. But we are working slowly and surely towards that goal of having student interns and student employees. And we're doing it statewide together. So Texas is huge. For those who don't know, everything in Texas is hyper local. And I mean, campus principals have the most power. And so everything, we have site-based decision-making committees that overview our budgets. I've been on plenty. Even at the district level, it's our district improvement council, which is a member from every campus and every department. There are 1,200 plus school districts in Texas, which means 1,200 school boards and more than 3,000 high schools. So we're talking like a huge, diverse, geographically dispersed group of people. But we all, like I said earlier, really have the same vision, because as weird as it sounds, in Texas, we do things together. And I think it's part of that like Texas identity, like, you know, in newcomers, like all that kind of stuff, we're like a little wary. But it means that.
Are you born and raised Texas, Danielle?
No, I was actually born in Colorado, but I've been here as long as I can remember.
You made me think of a King of the Hill episode where
God, I love that show.
They had to get a custom license plate. You had to be a native Texan, and he found out he wasn't actually born in Texas, and it was life altering for him. So
I don't remember. Where was he born?
I worked in
Oklahoma?
Texas for a little while, so that might have been.
Okay.
That might have been.
I don't know.
No, Texans are unique breed.
On that shit.
Bobby?
Yeah.
Bobby.
Yeah.
I love it.
I've been here
I
long
couldn't help
enough
thinking,
that, yeah. My accent comes out when I'm tired.
No, where in Texas are you located, Danielle?
I'm in Dallas. Dallas. That's usually the next question is where in Dallas, but I'm in actual Dallas.
Yeah.
Is,
My accent comes out strictly because my mother's from Texas, and I spent all my summers there, and mine will come out when I'm talking to other people that have an accent.
Yeah.
So
and if
funny.
I'm around Texans that have an accent, mine comes out pretty strong.
The drawl is coming out, y'all.
bunch of Texans, man.
And that East Texas and West Texas are different accents.
Totally.
But we're in the middle, so.
So what when you are when you're thinking about like educators and you know, some of the obstacles that are in the way, whether it be you know, a principal or a teacher or a ed tech director or a curriculum director that doesn't see the value in this, you know, how do you help people to get past those obstacles? Because you probably had teachers come to you saying, I'd love for my kids to do this. I'd love for them to compete with TechSF or whatever the case may be, but I can't get any support on my end. So what are some things that you have helped people to work through, or maybe even some of your own obstacles?
So when I was instructional coaching, there were people that I worked with that if you're looking at that theory or diffusion of innovation theory, where it's like, you know, you go up the roller coaster and then down the roller coaster, right? We are still, or I had people that I worked with that were in the like laggard section. You know, we're like on the slow, the flat part of the roller coaster after the hill. And instead of trying to push them, I coached around them. So I worked with the other people in their department, the people in the classrooms next door, until they absorbed it. Because just like with kids, when a kid sees another student doing something really cool in Minecraft, they immediately teach each other. And teachers are the same way. Teacher A uses this in her classroom and it's making it easier on her and it's better for the students. Teacher B will learn about it and try it. It doesn't have to be through me. And so it's the same kind of thing there where we hit the people around them. But not, that's kind of how we do it. But I honestly want to say that we're not having that problem. And as weird as it is, a year ago, 2 years ago, we were, but we've kind of stopped having that problem to the point where there's 20 Texas Education Agency regions in Texas, where a good number of them are having regional esports summits. Or tournaments and things like that. And we're getting more and more buy-in. There may be a little bit of pushback budget-wise, like, no, you can't use these computers. Our IT department says blah, blah, blah. But the way we're pushing with UIL, which is our University Interscholastic League, that's University of Texas oversees most academic competition in Texas. And our Texas Education Agency with 2 new classes that are being piloted next year. And we're rocking and rolling with UIL, moving towards a pilot. There will come a point, and it's not very far in the future, where if you don't have these programs, you are choosing to leave students behind. And nobody wants to be seen doing that.
And it's fascinating that you say that, because you say, I don't have that as much right now. 2 years ago, we had that. But I would say Texas is very different. And so as we work with people, I mean, I know Trevor, you're in some different areas like Iowa and Nebraska and even Kansas. And it is not that way in these locations. There's still a lot of, there's no value in it. There's no need for it, And so I think just from a standpoint, looking in, Texas is really kind of leading the charge and leading the way in this.
Well, I hope so.
Yeah.
While we don't have a marketing team or a marketing budget or a budget or a team, we've done a good job of teacher to teacher. And that's how education sales and education movements happen. They don't happen from the top down, because if it's coming from the top, it's probably like a recycle and a watered down version of whatever it's supposed to be, right? But when it comes from a critical mass of teachers, that's teacher to teacher is exponential that way. Because if I bring in 2 teachers and they bring in 2 teachers and they bring in 2 teachers, we're building, it's growing not at a linear rate, but at a exponential. God, my brain is not working. Yeah. The growth in esports isn't linear, it's exponential in education, because that's how education works, is we see somebody doing something cool that's making their job easier, and we want to do it too. And connecting kids to school makes everybody's job easier. So we're really not having that issue. I think having built the statewide network, there's enough education leaders around the state that are speaking up and forming their own communities, because it's cellular, like, or, exponential growth. There's one, it's, cellular mitosis. There's one, and then it builds, and it's 2, and then those grow and build. And so our goal is to build esports communities in every area of Texas. And that's what's happening. And because they're getting critical mass in a geographic region, the superintendents and principals and athletic directors are seeing this in each other. And even at that level, like, the sense of community in Texas education is strong. So if you're in Region 10, the Region 10 superintendents meet together regularly. Like, we have an underground ed tech therapy group for North Texas. Like, the region service centers, CTOs and CTE and digital learning people all meet regularly. And so we have these connected systems that I understand because I've been here my whole life and I've spent my whole educational life here, that we knew. I always don't want to say but this time it kind of is like that I knew how to use. And because I've been also trained by Google to build teacher communities and to build PLCs.
Nice.
I understood how to organize it. And so, yeah, that's how it spreads, is teacher to teacher in an exponential form. And we're not having this, we never had pushback, we had apathy. And we're experiencing less and less apathy.
Well, why is that? Is it just the grassroots piece? Is the enjoyment? Is it the energy? I mean, I know leadership makes a huge difference to that, but what do you think has led to the lack of, and the more the enjoyment piece that you're seeing with folks that get involved?
It's seeing the kids, and that's always what it is for an educator, is when we see the kids having fun, connecting, and doing those things, we can't deny it at that point. And so when it's right in front of you and the kids are excited about something, there is not an old fogey crotchety teacher on the planet that doesn't smile when kids are excited about something at school. Like, it doesn't matter who you are and how cynical you are, or how burnt out you are. Seeing the kids enjoy something at school is like what makes teaching worth it, those moments. And when they have it around video games, it doesn't matter what they have it around. When they have it around anything, the school tends to start supporting it. And in general, the teams start because the kids ask a favorite teacher, and the teacher has no idea what to do, and it's like, sure,
I just love kids.
I'll do this. Right.
We call
And
that
so,
the
champion.
Yeah, and so they reach out, and we're like, you're in the right place. Danielle doesn't know anything either. And so I'm really thankful I didn't know anything at the beginning, because I've kind of like, I understand where people are coming from. When they're like, I don't know how to do this. I don't either.
It's okay, I'm good.
I actually don't know the answer to that question. We gotta ask somebody else. And so it's good.
That's awesome. I think that's a great, like, kind of wind up to all of this. Is I love when you said, if in the future, because we are moving in this direction, and if you're not going to be implementing things like this in your schools and districts, you are choosing to leave kids behind. And I just think that's a great statement. And, I just appreciate all the work that you do with TechSF and the state there, and just in, getting to know you and working with you. I just think you've done some amazing things there, and just kudos to you. And I'm so glad we got to have you on the podcast today. But something that we do to kind of wind up our podcast is we do a fun little question to end it. So are you ready?
Before we do that, I just want to say thank you to Generation Esports. TechSF is using the Generation Esports platform this year. We have a separate community on the Generation Esports platform where we can control our league. And so we've had the best year in our 3 years. It's been the smoothest for me as far as league stuff. And we've doubled in size since last semester.
That's amazing.
So thank you, Jenny.
Yeah, I think it's just been a mutually beneficial relationship, and it's just been so fun, because what we're doing is we're impacting hundreds and hundreds of kids, and you can't go wrong there. So I think that's what we both have in common, is just really wanting to impact kids in a positive way, which is awesome. So thank you for that shout out too. Okay, so are you ready for your question of the day? All right. So this question is, what is and you could either go to childhood or you could be current. Okay. But we always talk about, video games and electronic games. So the question is, what is your favorite game of strategy that is not technology based? Ooh, who wants to go first?
Game that's strategy based.
I would say
a game of strategy.
I would say for me, like, I played a lot of Axis and Allies when I was growing up, and I still play. So I think that would be mine.
Never heard of it. Axis and Allies.
It's basically a World War II simulation, and you can be one of 5
I'm
countries,
buying
or you can
now.
be, yeah, it's good.
Okay. A board game, like a board
Yeah,
game.
it's a board game. Mhm.
Okay. Axis and Allies. I got it.
They have it on Steam now. It's a digital version as well.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it's
Nice.
it's one of my faves. So
Okay.
Scrabble.
Scrabble. Good one. Yeah.
Oh man. It was
Are you a Words with Friends girl now?
no, which is
No?
weird,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So playing Scrabble, my mom and my dad's mom were super competitive, like incredibly competitive with each other on that. And so once I was growing up, they would let me play. Of course, I never won, right? Because they're trying to
Right.
beat each other.
Right.
And I was in college. I came home because my parents went to Europe because my mom was in grad school and they had to do their like international business trip. And I was in college, but my grandma came and stayed with my brother. And so I came home one weekend to hang out with her because she's amazing. And we played Scrabble and I beat her by 100 points. And that thing was on the refrigerator until we sold that house.
You're like,
But
I'm
it
owning
is
this. Yeah.
Yeah, like it is one of my favorite memories with my grandmother, and it is one of my like proudest Scrabble moments because I know she didn't let me win.
I love it. That's so
That's
good.
awesome.
Trevor?
Maybe Ticket to Ride.
Oh, Ticket to
Playing a little
Ride's
Ticket to
fun.
Ride.
Yeah.
Junior edition.
Junior
Ticket to
edition.
Ride,
Not
Ticket to
too
Ride Junior
hard.
edition.
Not
Nah,
can't use the brain too much. Yeah.
New, it simplifies it. I was gonna say slow pitch softball. There's for me
Yeah.
as a slow pitch softball guy, like there's a lot of strategy in how I set up my defense and where I hit. So I don't know if that counts.
We'll take
But
it.
slow pitch softball.
I didn't say board game. I just
Well,
said
that's what I was
game
gonna say. You didn't say
strategy.
board game, so
yeah.
I'm gonna do a slow pitch softball.
But Herbie,
See
what's yours?
coming.
Well, favorite non-electronic one, I'd have to say it's a toss-up between Settlers of Catan and Pandemic. Those are my 2 favorite, I'd say. So yeah, good.
Nice.
Pandemic, a game you played from March 2020 till
now.
Yeah,
now.
exactly.
Is that the game?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Nobody
I
wins.
love that
Nobody
game.
wins that
Nobody
game.
wins.
Love
Everybody
that game.
dies.
Everyone dies.
That's right.
Well, my favorite, I would say, is Categories, hands down.
Mm.
I love
Ooh,
playing. I feel like I'm really rock solid at that game. And then, but I remember growing up and the game I played was backgammon. And I cannot remember how to play it. And I think I want to get a backgammon set again because
I think you're old enough now to play it.
I am. And I'm going to own that. You are right. I'm older. I'm wiser. I'm smarter.
That's right. I just picture old men playing backgammon. Like that's just
I don't know. It was
I
an
picture
80s
old
thing.
women, not even
old women.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even that. It was
Yeah.
like the neighborhood moms played.
Yeah.
They
it
played
was a
bunco
thing,
and
we
backgammon.
had the
Bunko.
backgammon and you
Bunko.
could put it on your couch and just, I just remember, and I'm like, I think I got to bring that back. I think the Gen X in me is ready to bring it back, old school. So,
Yeah.
all right. So we're going to go ahead and let everybody know where we can get a hold of you. So Danielle, do you have any social media that people could get in touch with you if they wanted to talk more with you or learn more from you or even be a part of TexF?
Yeah. So my email address is danielle@texf.org. TexF is TEXSEF.org.
Yeah.
On most social media, actually on all social media, I am I Heart Miss Johnson. So IHEARTMS Johnson.
Love it.
That comes from an essay my students had to write. And then TexF is on social media. So, but our big event that is coming up that Generation Esports is helping with, we are having an undisputed state championship in Texas. We are having one state championship with all of the leagues participating, and the top teams from all of the leagues are invited to do an undisputed state championship. Just like boxing and wrestling, they had their own heavyweight champions and all these different divisions for a while. But like I said earlier, in Texas, we do things as a unit. And so that was an easy sell. Like everybody was
That's
like, yes,
awesome.
just one, let's do that. And HSCL and EGF and Play Versus have all agreed to partner with this. And then a tournament organizer in Dallas is running the thing. And then Intel came on board with Intel Inspires and added their Intel Inspires Esports Educator Summit to our state championship And we're also hosting with NACAD, the National Association of Esports Coaches and Directors, a student leadership workshop and college recruiting event. So we are going to have everybody K-16 esports in Texas in one location for 3 days. And it's going to be wild and amazing.
It's going to be great. I love it. And what are the dates of that again?
It is April 28th and 29th at the Esports Stadium in Arlington, Texas, which is run by Optic Gaming.
I love it. Well, great. Well, you can find me at Kristen Esports on LinkedIn and Twitter. Mike?
I'm at Russ the Teach on Twitter and just Michael Russell on LinkedIn.
Yeah, and Trevor?
Okay, Trevor Goertzen on LinkedIn, Goertzen EDU on Twitter.
I love it. So, well, Danielle, thanks again for coming and joining us on Gaming
Thank you
Concepts
for having me.
And it was a joy to talk to you today. And until then, we'll see you next time.
Great to meet you.
Hi, Danielle. Thank you.
Bye.